Oh, what's that? I didn't see you there. Welcome back to WCS Winter. We are moving into our next match in the lower bracket, and my name is Fear Dragon. I am joined here by Nathanius for a awesome match.
I don't know if they heard that. Oh, you guys don't need to know the things I say to warm up before we go on camera.
I think we were safe on that regard. But yeah, guys, welcome back. We are going to be moving into that lower bracket match. Ziggy just put up a kind of interesting fight with the mech play versus Namshar. Didn't quite end up working out, but he gets a second shot versus Soul Spirit now.
Yeah, he does. Series against Namshar was pretty rough. Tried some fun builds. Battle Cruiser Rush was a bit flaccid. The bio follow-up in the next game, not really what he was looking for. Got caught off guard by the tech switch. Didn't really have what he needed to deal with the Brood Lords and just kind of collapsed. But Soul Spirit comes in as the staunch underdog, right? He is the player that if Ziggy is going to be able to eliminate anybody, most likely going to be him. And then they fight for second place, which, as we all know, is really the story of this group. With second place, Serral, no one's going to stop him. I'm just going to say it. Sorry, guys. He's that good. I respect the world champion. And I'm excited to see who else gets out with him. Because I like Ziggy, because he does fun, memey builds. So
yeah, Ziggy's been fun. Namshar also a really, really solid player who I think is kind of the other second favorite to make it out in the group. But Soul Spirit really impressed me in his series versus Serral. That was off of ZVZ. That Zombie Grub was saying that is
I'd just
his
like to
best
remind
matchup.
you that you and Zombie Grub are impressed that he got the snot beaten out of him a little bit more slowly than you expected.
He was holding on. I know.
I'm going to do the in-control thing, because I know
Look,
that's exactly what Jeff would
No,
say.
that's 100% what Jeff would say. But I will defend that. I will defend that. That is still an impressive feat. If I held my own and I got, like, I don't know, if I was in a boxing match or something with a professional boxer and I, like, got a couple of good punches in, I think you would still compliment me. Yeah, I think you'd say, you know what, Ravi, you did okay.
Guess. It's better than not landing any punches and just getting knocked out in the first round, I guess.
Yeah.
We're loaded into King's Cove. And in the top left, we've got our blue Zerg player here. He goes by the name Soul Spirit.
What is the difference
What do you mean?
between a soul and a spirit?
I don't know. I think it just sounds cool. He could be a Soul Calibur character. His opponent in the bottom right, the red Terran player, building BCs. He is Ziggy. I mean, what's a Ziggy, Fear Dragon? Ziggy sounds like Jiggy, which makes me think of a bear carrying around a kazoo in a backpack.
You know, I can't place why, but I think it just makes me think of someone like Bomberman or something like that. Can't figure out why, though.
It's okay.
He's
doing the build
coming
again.
down, by the way. Yeah.
Doing the build. So it seems like his builds are very map-tailored, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think there's certainly like a good degree of comfort knowing like what works on what maps, especially because you don't want to try to mix things up too much in a high-pressure situation. Ziggy knows the world is watching him right now. Yeah, actually, they've literally everywhere. Everyone's tuning in. Everyone wants to know what is going on. European Council is having their lunch watching StarCraft as well. Shout out to you guys. And Ziggy feels the pressure, so he's not going to mix it up too much.
Yeah, how do you feel about Namshar's defense against what Ziggy was doing, and what worked well or what maybe didn't work as well?
Well, the roaches were good. This map has the comfort of you have the high ground position, right, to work with, which is nice. And the roach horn immediately starts. So I'm just going to say the thing with this map is it's very easy to scout this build because normally your overlord has to go pretty far to see everything, right? But he sees the barracks much earlier than you would on any other map, just because this strategy kind of relies on walling off the front so that you can't be counterattacked. And that's the reason why you build everything at the front here. It's so you can keep your Reapers on the map without worrying about something slipping by into your natural or your main base. You're completely safe in a in a relative sort of sense. Obviously, you could be counterattacked, but you're more safe than you would otherwise be if you just built a low ground command center and 3 racks in your main.
No, I think that's definitely true. Now, Soul Spirit is a player, it's just because we don't really get to see much of this guy. I do want to note that he is a player that's been around since 2014, 2015. He lived through the 3Rax Reaper era, so it's something he should definitely have experience
Well, I think
with.
the only word you can use for that is he survived.
He survived. That is fair.
We were having a
What
fun
Reaper already dying is not great. He's only killed a drone and a Zergling. It really is all about building up the Reaper count.
We had a little nostalgia chat about some of these strategies, like remember the first Legacy of the Void tournament they had at that one DreamHack
Oh, yeah.
Reaper, where I think Parting won it off of like Void Rays on that one really good Reaper map, and then he like proxy Void Ray TY broke down the rocks from behind. Felt like Wings of Liberty too. It was great.
It was a great time. Ooh, we got a couple of Lings going for a bit of a counter swing. I want to note that when he goes for these fast of Roaches, he isn't going to have Zergling speed. So these are just slow Zerglings looking to try and get... I don't even know what actually they're expecting to get done, unless he has some weird follow-up to
Not
try and
much.
snipe a third or
Maybe
something.
he's just looking for opportunity. Wants to
Yeah.
have the Lings there in case of something. I don't really know. The Reaper count is pretty good though. This isn't a situation. So we were talking about last game. I feel like there's an opportunity. You can kind of shark around here. Delaying the third is really important. But once you get kind of shoved off this spot, I want to see the Reapers used to try and, like, you know, keep the creep back, because that did end up becoming a bit of an issue for Ziggy on this map against Namshar. The creep got all the way up to his fifth base that he was trying to take very out front. And I feel like that was one of the big deciding factors in him losing, because being able to reinforce behind those Broodlords as quickly as he did was an issue. By the way, Ziggy's still building just Reaper. He's building 5
Yeah.
Reapers at a time.
This is one of the transitions that Kelazor really liked doing, where he just adds on 2 more barracks, and sometimes we do the engineering bit exactly. You get a +1 weapons. I never actually figured out if there was some very specific number that the +1 weapons gives you over drones or roaches or something, but I do know +1 weapons does help out the Reapers quite a bit versus roaches, because the roaches have the +1 armor. It kind of
You think he's
negates
going
that.
full rough? You think he's just going to get +1 attack right now and just build Reapers nonstop?
It actually can be kind of difficult to deal with.
Oh my god.
Because, again, it just gets to that ridiculous point where...
Gone too far. Cancel reality.
Cancel.
Your dragon.
I don't...
Ratings are not going to do well.
I don't know. I think
Oh
I
my
think
goodness.
people are going to enjoy this quite a bit.
Crazy.
So, the thing is, when you're knocked into the air, it is an actual stun. Units stop attacking.
Oh yeah.
Cancels the third base.
Nice. Stun locking the whole army. Goodness.
This is a
Is, what
very...
edge, is this like the edge grabbing maneuver or something?
Oh, Smash Brothers?
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna jump up and down the cliff so that you
No.
can actually get your stable
That's
footing or something.
that's like a stalling tactic. This is more just like completely stun locking someone, like a rogue in World of Warcraft.
Okay, yeah,
This is vanilla rogue in World of Warcraft right here. Well, at this point, the high ground is so important for Soul Spirit to be able to try and maintain, and he is doing a good job of keeping these Reapers from easily moving up the ramp. You can see that Ziggy really has to work his way up to try and get up the ramp, and he loses a few Reapers in the process every single time he does try and poke forward too far.
Oh man, what an intense, dicey situation to be in.
I'm actually a little surprised that Soul Spirit isn't making more Ravagers. Just because the extra range really helps you just get extra pot shots off.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Because there's the extra range, but also you do want to have some roaches to tank because they're because of the health.
Yeah. I like to imagine this is what David Kim envisioned when he thought of the Reaper.
I wonder if he was I wonder if his decision influenced the KDA charge. We
Yeah.
do have that third base finally finishing.
Yes.
This is a weird game. There's been a battle the entire time.
Uh-huh.
Now he's finally got Stim starting up behind this, but those Reapers are getting their +1. This is where everything snowballs out of control. I don't know, maybe.
They do extra damage for sure, but it is pretty still tough to
It's a
move
small
up
window.
that ramp.
It's a very small window because +1 Carapace is also about to finish.
Well, what's nice, and this is the thing that I liked about the old days of the 3Rax Reaper, is that if you keep these Reapers alive, you still just have this constant presence out on the map while you're getting everything up back at home. It requires a lot of micro to use effectively, but if your opponent ever tries to move out or something, you have still this many Reapers left over. You can completely massacre a mineral line in a matter of seconds. Your opponent actually has to still leave a lot of units at home. They still have to be very on point with the defense.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Because behind this, he does everything, and the Zerg player just can never leave their base. Like, you're stuck.
You're talking about the creep spread. I mean, the creep spread Sure, it goes to the third base. Not really going anywhere else so far.
Yeah. That's what I like from this, though, is he's doing a good job of also kind of keeping that back. And that's what I want to see. I want to see that base delayed. Because now the Terran player gets on to even number of bases with Zerg. His 4th command center, by the way, is about to finish. Didn't even realize that.
Wait, he has a 4th? I knew he had a 3rd, but...
Yeah, he's got the 4th command
Oh
center.
my god. Okay, yeah, this he is really going gung-ho on this.
Boy. Yeah, boy.
Overlord does move in and scout all this out, since Reapers don't really do a whole lot to push back Overlords.
No.
You know, at this point, does he have a starport? He
Yes.
can actually use the
About to
starport
finish.
to make a Viking and push back the Overlord so the Reapers can move back and forth a little bit more undetected.
I'd like to see that.
Mm.
Yes, I would like to see it. 7 Overlords coming in, by the way.
Also in Carapace, by the way, finished up 4 Soul Spirits, which
Yeah, the Reapers are still going to
negates
be...
the weapon upgrade.
That +1 is actually still nice, I think, if the Reapers do get into a raiding situation, because with that many of them, killing the buildings is going to be a lot easier.
Okay, finally Soul Spirit has been able to break out of his third
And
base.
now he's like, I want to kill you. Oh.
I don't think that's an intentional split of Reapers.
Yeah, when the Reapers see this, I mean, you could try to peel units off the back end, but I also wouldn't mind just seeing a counterattack. Does he have? Does he think that he has enough to defend? That's the real question. Because if he has enough to defend, then
if the
he should
Reapers
send
are-
the Reapers.
Okay, let me paint you a picture, Nate. The Roaches and Ravagers try and move up the ramp, and then they get KD8 charged repeatedly as the Siege Tanks wail away at them. Because that's probably what we're going to be seeing here as we end up seeing. They're trying to move forward. Ravagers do get some Corrosive Biles down on the Siege Tanks, and one of the Siege Tanks is not sieged up for this fight. The Reapers also not actually getting involved in the fight.
Such an awkward, weird fight, yeah. So a lot of the Reapers do die, but he's pushed them back pretty far. SCV's taken some damage. Medivacs are coming out to support the bio here, but there's still just the one tank really anchoring in this spot. Most of the Reapers are all dead now.
Yeah.
One last survivor from that early game shenanigans.
I think he still might be able to defend over here, but this was a bit more costly than I thought it was going to be. I really did believe that this Reapers would get back in time.
Soul Spirit's not that far behind on workers, mind
No.
you. If all he needed to do was hold this off,
He's on a 4th base.
and now he's got a 4th, and the Zerg player does not.
Yeah.
Like this base won't finish. He's not going to get a planetary here, but I don't see any way that he does, because right now it's very clearly like an all-in from Soul Spirit. He's not. He does take the 4th base. I guess he starts some drones, but he's really committing to this with the amount of. If he does not knock this 4th base back, if he doesn't cancel this and force a liftoff and maybe kill the army, I feel like he's in a really terrible spot, because this Roach Ravager is not going to scale versus Bio as it gets more upgrades.
Oh my god, I think the Planetary Fortress is actually going to finish, and all of the Marauders have cleaved through the Roach front lines. It's just the Ravagers left over, which don't take the extra damage versus those Marauders, but they do have a little bit less hit points. Planetary Fortress does get canceled.
Oh, it's so low.
Okay, this is getting a
Shoddy
little
Bunning
close.
on the dance floor.
Needs to pull a couple of SCVs. But the high ground vision not being there for Soul Spirit is going to allow Command Center to survive for a little bit longer. Soul Spirit doing some really important
That's what he needed to
damage.
do, by the way.
Yeah.
He needed to force the liftoff, destroy most of the army, and now he'll be able to get that 4th base up. So, yeah, I wasn't sure that he was going to take the base behind it, but like if you think like if he doesn't do that damage and then he starts the infestation pit after he loses the Roaches and the Ravagers and the 4th base is secured for the Terran, then I think you're just super dead. But now I feel like Soul Spirit's got it, and he's gonna
this-
push up here.
This is a dicey spot, though, because all the Roaches, they're going to be in this limbo line trying to move through this awkward passageway. They
Yeah.
do find the Command Center once again. Corrosive Bile is being thrown down on the Command Center once again, and the Command Center getting pushed back once again.
Yeah, this is a really tough spot to be in. I still think, like, if you're Soul Spirit, you need to transition out of this. Okay, Baneley Nest and +1 melee. That's a start. You're not going to win the game with just Roach Ravager, or at least you shouldn't. Like, Ziggy is very close to having just enough bio that he can plow through the almost endless Roach Ravager.
And if you had enough Siege Tanks that had survived the earlier pushes, he lost
Yes.
a couple of them. If he had had all those Siege Tanks still alive, then he would be up to 6-7 tanks right now, and he would have no problem establishing that 4th base. So
Yeah.
It
Because
was-
if you think about it, it's not like he can reinforce that easily. The creep
No,
spread
no.
was stunted very well by the Reaper pressure at the beginning of the game. Quote-unquote pressure.
light designated pressure from the Reapers, the 25 Reapers or something. But the drop moving across the map is Ziggy's first kind of bit of aggression he's done ever since the Reapers got picked off or pushed back.
Oh,
And
look at that
just-
Roach. Hero
yeah.
Roach.
This is a really nice scout. There isn't a whole lot of anti-air here besides just the Queen, so Ziggy still has an opportunity to maybe get something done with pure Marauder Force as well. It's not just
big drop.
Yeah, you need to handle this with more than just a small number of roaches.
And look at that. I love it. The double drop is going to hit the left side, cancels the 5th base.
Doesn't lose any Marines. Maybe
And he's going to go into the main with that. He is committing.
If he signs off the Queen, that is going to be just a little bit extra firepower for the anti-air missing to help deal with the Marauder drop later on as well. Oh, and Medevac.
I'm sweating. Oh,
yeah, goes down. But drops are going to maybe join forces as he drops in both the 3rd and the 4th base at the same time. Banelings push back the Marauders. The Marines...
Stellar defense. Stellar defense from Soul Spirit. Middle base getting canceled was definitely the hardest part. But the drops haven't really accomplished what he was looking to do. He's bought himself a lot of time, so the 4th base is set up.
Oh!
But,
Oh my
that
God.
Medevac should be dead.
And Medevac is on fire. The
Oh,
Marines,
no. Okay, well, should have just kept flying.
Marines definitely saw that coming. They're like, you know, I noticed that your engine's on fire. Can we get out? He's like, sure, if you want to.
Like, if we had just kept flying, we would have all survived, but...
The
4th
fire on
base
the
is-
engine just makes the engine go faster.
Well, you know, these are the fancy Mobius Medevacs. These are from the last war chest from BlizzCon in 2018. They actually, fun fact, all their thrusters are blue instead of red. Why?
Oh, yeah.
Because it looks cooler.
They research Infernal Preigniter on those thrusters, and man, does it do extra damage
Yeah.
versus light cargo.
Fun fact, the Mobius Banshee is the only Banshee that does not have the little
rotators.
rotator blades. It actually just uses regular engines, which means that
So
its cloak,
high-tech.
its cloak should just not work, but they're that cool.
Okay, we got another pickup over here as the Medevacs have to escape on out of there, but the Ultra Cavern is finished now for Soul Spirit. Starts up chitinous plating. This is where things do get a little bit more complicated. We had a lot of Marauders in the mix for Ziggy, though. Do you feel like that's going to be enough to deal with a big Ultraless wave?
Just more tanks until Birdlords come out. Like, really, the answer to everything here is just more tanks. More tanks, more tanks, more tanks. He has 8 siege tanks. I think with how open this area by the 4th is, I would have liked to see some bunkers so to help cover from a huge concave.
Roaches
but
and Ravagers
what?
on a bit of a move command. He loses a lot there. The siege tanks clean up everything else on the front line.
That's going to be a yikes from me, dog. That's a lot to just throw away.
Yeah, I wonder if he just saw one of the drops and started reacting to that and misclicked the rest of his army.
Yeah, well,
Oh, this base is also going to be a gauntlet.
Ziggy's starting to get some momentum over here as that drop hits the southwest base. The other drop gets picked up into the top side by that 3rd. The Baneling's going to come crash into the Marauders, but the damage has been done. Base is knocked down, and that drop is going to continue to dance and prance around the 4th. We also have a little bit of engagement going on the west side. Siege tank is going to barely get a shot off before it dies. Queen picked off. Ravagers dying off creep.
Ziggy finding some new life right now, pushing forward and getting all sorts of damage done. That snipe off in the center base is really, really nice for him. And also gets another liftoff, keeps these units alive to join forces with the rest of his forces later. These Lings not finding any opportunities right now. And Ziggy is, I really feel like the Ultras are going to be coming out. There still is no real anti-air defense against the Medevac drops, and that's been hurting.
Yep, and the thing is, he's covering himself with this transition into ghosts. He's doing really well. He's got that fancy ghost skin that you got for if you bought StarCraft 2 before it went free to play. It's pretty nice looking.
All right, Medevac's finally backing on up, and we see the full might of Soul Spirit charging forward. A lot of the bio was loaded up in the Medevacs. It took some time to unload. The Siege Tank depth was there, but the Vipers and the Blinding Clouds completely shattered that defense. Ziggy on the back foot.
Yeah, this is rough. I mean, the Medevacs and the Liberators, not a ton of anti-air here to kill them, but the ground army has been completely shattered, and getting caught like that in that fight just did not go over well. You need to be able to have those Liberators set up, and even this, the Abducts pulling a bunch of them back, just preventing them from being able to shoot. Even those Soul Spirit can't kill them. Retreats back to the tank. He's got the Thor there. He does still have this west side planetary, so I'm not going to say this is over, because Soul Spirit's economy is very bad. He's only got 59 workers, and those bases don't look completely saturated from my eyes.
His fresher bases are definitely not doing so hot. Even some of the other bases not doing so hot. So 17 workers killed, and Ziggy's only down about 6.
Ziggy's still in this
He's got the
because of this.
hammer.
With this base, I say Ziggy's still in it. Faux show. This is a half base, but I talk about this on the last map because he just lost to Namshar here in the final game of their series. And it's really, you secure that position, and then those 2 other bases to the south are a lot easier to hold on to. Also, shout out to the half base, because is this one of the first maps that's actually had a half base?
At least in a very long time.
In the older maps that used to have them in like GSL, they always got patched for ladder to be normal bases. That was why we always had the really crazy long games on that one Wings of Liberty map that's famous, Daybreak. Daybreak turned into a turtle map because the half base wasn't supposed to be a full base. And then everyone's like, well, we can build the ultimate siege line right here.
Well, we end up seeing the big Ling run by with all the Ultras coming on forward to the very important base that is going to get sniped off. Liberators not quite sieged up in range to hit any of the Ultras. The SCV is on the left-hand side, buffering for some of the Marauders. The retreat there from Soul Spirit. He does lose a lot of his army supply, and he is down in army supply right now, as well as those upgrades, still waiting for 3-3. But Ziggy just lost a very important bit of his economy. He needs to make some damage happen now.
Yes, he does. Needs to get those medevacs up to the bio, by the way. Most of it's still in the orange, and Stim is about to end, so these units will be at, like, actually, I think 20% of their total normal default health in this next fight. Without the medevac support, the Ultras are going to be able to jump in on top of this. Will the Liberators be able to cover up for that? It seems so. And there are the Ghosts to steady target down these. I love the use of the Liberators. Really key, really important. There's no anti-air in this army for Soul Spirit. This is why, actually, this conversation came up in the same scenario yesterday in GSL. You need Corruptors or something. Ziggy takes game number 1.
Well done. Really, really solid play, and both of those players actually getting to each other's their bases, their economies, hitting the heart of things. But in the end, Ziggy starts taking the momentum with the drops, as well as just, I would say, that one big fight in the center where Soul Spirit was trying to push on in. Being able to snipe off all those Ultras so quickly, and the Liberators siege up, like you said, the Liberators just going uncontested for such a long time. Ziggy was able to take the later end of those fights, but I do think that was a very close game.
Yeah. I think Artosis said it best last night, because something similar happened in the GSL match with Bunny, was that the reason why guys like Dark kind of popularized building Corruptors, even if you don't want to play with like Spire versus Terran, is in a situation like that when everything on the ground is mopped up, you still have 7 medevacs and 4 Liberators that fly home and siege up. Like, no, you need to do something about that. It's either mixing in Hydras, getting Corruptors, the units that he lost were all the cheap replaceable units. He lost some tanks, sure, but he didn't have to rebuild his medevacs, and I think that's the reason why in that final push he got up to like 6 or 7 Liberators, was able to spread them out, and then siege so many Liberators that when he abducted half of them, the other half were still shooting.
Yeah, absolutely. I really do think that just dealing with those medevacs and also preventing all the drop play that was happening would have been extremely helpful. So I'm with you on the Corruptors. I could be blanking out. I thought I saw around the time the Ultras Cavern was finishing up, which was
a bit later. I think he did get a Spire at the end.
He had a Spire finishing up around that time, and I think, like you said, he didn't really remember to use it, or something happened there, so he kind of blanked on that. But he
also didn't get Ultralisk speed, from what I saw.
Oh yeah, you might not be used to that, I guess.
Yeah, Ultra speed is very good. Ultras with the speed upgrade move faster than stimmed bio off creep. So that's one of those big tide turner upgrades that got added to the game that I really feel like you need to take advantage of as a Zerg.
Okay, we're going to be starting down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. Top with the blue Zerg player from Dust Gaming. He is Soul Spirit. Already doubling, or more than doubling, that prize money earned so far just by qualifying for WCS Winter.
Nice. His opponent in the top left, the Red Terran player, leading the series 1-0. He is Ziggy. Fun fact, Fear Dragon. I'm sure you're aware of this. Units, for the most part, have a spot on them where it will show your decal, especially for Terran. Almost every Terran unit will show your decal.
I love the Terrans with combat shields. That's one of the most notable ones.
Marauder shoulder pads are another one. But this is actually the only decal in the game that lets you look like you have a jersey number on your units.
Ooh.
Terran. The 20th anniversary ones.
Do any units have a decal on the back of them? On their back?
I believe most of the mechanical units do. You'll see the logos on the sides of them.
I'm looking so close.
But you see those 20s everywhere. Oh no, the classic SCV skins don't. No. Some of the special skins don't have those. But yeah. It's mostly a Terran thing because they have the decals on almost every Terran unit. but you don't see them on almost any of the other races. I don't actually know if the decals are on any of the units of the other races.
That's a good question, because I'm trying to think of my
Maybe
Zealots
the Colossus somewhere? No, I don't think I've ever seen it.
The Oracle should have a hologram of the decal inside of the orb.
Then you use the
that'd be
cool pylon. The pylon with the sunglasses.
Oh my god, no, hold on. You use
Inside the
that,
Oracle.
and then when the Oracle does its /dance, you should see projections of the decal all over the floor in the disco
All right,
ball
Fear
lights.
Dragon, I'm sorry for bringing this up. I'm sorry.
We went too deep.
That's not where I wanted the conversation to go.
By the way, there is a pretty quick swarm of lings making their way
This is
across
the
map.
this is
was
the
earlier pool.
play. This is the trick build where you send the Zerglings around the long side of the map. This is actually like very similar to what Cyril did at the start of his ZVZ, where he's like, I'm going to run on the side of the map. And it's unfortunate because you go for the 6 lings and the Reaper has to come all the way home to help. And if it doesn't, by the way, the Reaper is still going deeper into the Zerg base, so he takes some hits from the Queen there.
I'm
May not
actually
be able
quite
to get out
surprised.
now.
The SCV, of course, just trying to buy some time, staying alive in the center of the map. And yeah, I'm sort of surprised that the Reaper is doing that because he waited for some of the Marines. The Lings, usually I'm used to seeing 1, maybe 2 Lings stuck on the SCV that's trying to build the command center. And then the other 4 Lings work away at the command center. And sometimes you can get a cancel, but that's not really possible anymore. Oh,
Ooh, he gets one of the Marines there. So he just gets a decent little scout.
doesn't
Doesn't
actually
see the starport.
Or the starport, yeah.
But the Natural's going to finish here. And that SCV, jump in the command center. Hide in the command center now. He's going to die.
Rip. Well, overall, would you say it was worth it for Soul Spirit? Good opening for him. Delaying the command center a little bit, killing
He got what he wanted to do down there. He definitely did. Delayed the orbital, delayed the command center. And because he forced out those extra Marines, he actually delayed the reactor for the factory. So he delayed the Hellions.
Oh
as
baby, oh baby, oh baby.
well. And there's the battle cruiser rush. Sorry, I used the Thor voice for that. My apologies.
Whatever happened to Liberator range rushes? That used to be a thing. We don't
They're
see it
still
anymore.
really good. On this map, you can siege the main, the natural, and the third without being targetable. It's really good on all these maps. Here's my counterpoint, though. Range Liberators are harder to execute because the Battlecruiser build made so many Zerg players just blindly rush Spire during that era. I do think Liberator range is going to come back in like another week or two because the BC builds have fallen off since the Yamato nerf.
Okay, you guys heard it here first.
I'm giving you
Don't
guys
stop
the
making your
prediction.
spires.
Liberator range is really, really strong. On these maps especially.
Oh, okay, there's still 2 Hellions back at home. Nice defensive play there from Ziggy.
Also, the maps last season were bad for Liberator range, so Zerg players
Oh,
probably...
yeah.
Zerg players have all forgotten how to deal with it, Terrence. So go out there. Research. So that's what I want to see. Like, Yamato is cool, but you can do all the things with a BC rush without Yamato and just get lib range faster and have that be your follow-up. Think about it. We didn't even have Corruptors the last time that he did this Battlecruiser rush, right? It was Infestors as the response from Namshar. If you go lib range after that, and everyone's just like, Nathan, can you just stop talking about how much you love Liberator range, okay? God, this American can only talk about the freedom
God,
of zones.
Nathanius, can you please stop answering your co-casters' questions?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So the Hellions are going to continue to buy a little bit of space and try and keep Soul Spirit a bit back further at home. And Soul Spirit got supply block momentarily. The Roach Warrior's about to finish up, though, and he will be able to flood out a bunch of Roaches to deal with these Hellions. Roaches are not what he's going to want versus those battlecruisers soon.
Firing up the grill, trying to get some drone barbecue. He's got 3 so far. Killed a decent little chunk of Lings. And also, I really like the Hellion going out to scout. So here's a fun fact for you, Fear Dragon. What upgrade, what ability has the same cooldown as the build time of a Spire?
That is obscure.
That is tactical jump, my friend, which means that if you scout your opponent's lair is just about to finish or just finishing when you tactical jump a BC in, you are guaranteed to have tactical jump available by the time the Spire is done if they immediately were to build one. If they don't build a Spire, you can just fly away. You are guaranteed an escape route from Corruptors in this scenario.
Quite amazing.
So his tactical jump will be ready when that Spire is done. Close to.
Yep. All right, and now we end up seeing a situation where Soul Spirit is going to try and rally all of his queens over to his main base to try and muster up a defense versus the Battlecruiser, try and push it back. And actually, the Battlecruiser has not been able to do too much just yet, but it's still sitting pretty healthy. can still try and move in. And now that Yamato's done, he can go in. Yamato down one of the queens.
That's nice. If he teleports the second BC in, he will not be able to get away from Corruptors. So you need to be very cautious. Always like rallying the second BC across.
When do you stop battlecruiser production?
3. 3 is the magic number.
Okay.
3 BCs is just enough that you're going to be able to actually get your Yamatos off against like a little group of Corruptors. But 3 BCs is also enough that if they're just kind of like sitting home, they can get a lot of damage done against like a counterattack. The problem with less than 3 BCs is like that damage scale it's just not as nice. 3 is a really nice number of BCs to have. But he's going to go into Cyclones out of this, so he actually doesn't need to stop building battlecruisers. BC,
right.
Cyclone, Hellion, some mines too, screw it. Really fun, great composition. I think BC Cyclone is still one of those builds it's really popular that you'll still see on like even higher level, like Korean ladder. Some of the Korean Terran streamers still do this. I just watch Supernova do this all the time. Of course, this was much stronger when it was easier to get Magfield, when it was easier to get the weapon refit upgrade. But this composition is still really good. The Magfield Cyclones dunk on Corruptors, and then the Battlecruisers kill everything else. So this build is limited purely by your micro. If you micro this perfectly, I'd say it's damn near impossible to lose. It is a very your units are fragile. The Cyclones are fragile. The Battlecruisers, if they get caught at any point and you lose them, they take forever to rebuild. You know. But it's a very fun, very powerful composition that I would say most players probably don't have that much practice against.
Yeah, I know that this was something that started popping up maybe like a month and a half ago or so, just a few weeks after the big patch. Ziggy just experiencing a little bit of lag. If he feels like he needs to pause, he absolutely has the ability
allowed to pause if he wants to.
There is.
Okay. So he is just going to wait a second.
You were saying it's a micro-intensive build and style to go for.
The last
so
thing
you really don't want to deal with lag there.
Yeah, I don't do this build when I play on the Americas server. If you get put on a
huge lag spikes, 80 milliseconds.
80
I'm
milliseconds.
like 80 milliseconds.
That's
wow,
my normal ping to NA from inside NA.
I'm like, wait, do you normally have 0 ping? Is that
I don't know.
You know what's actually beautiful is being here in the studio. Whenever I look at the server list, it says 0 ping. It says 0 MS.
Yeah. I think they run fiber out of here, which would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had fiber in my first apartment in SoCal, and then when I played like the Legacy of the Void beta, which was the first one where they got rid of the minimum ping, I had 5 MS, which is like what you're gonna get is like a minimum in any normal place. So good.
Actually, you know what the most amazing thing is? This is
the most amazing thing. I'm ready.
This is the most amazing thing, is that I am so insensitive to latency and lag that I can play on any server and not notice the difference.
I don't believe you.
I have tried this. Even with 300 ping, I actually can barely tell the difference.
We're not friends anymore, Fear Dragon.
It's so great because that means I can play on whatever server I want. I am unrestricted. All right, guys.
Game is back. And we're going to be getting back into that in just a second. Just so you guys know, +2 vehicle plating is on the way. Vehicle and ship plating. Another command centers being added. And a lot of roaches. Roaches can deal with Hellion Cyclone, but you need a lot of creep spread. And here's the thing. The battlecruisers are also amazing at blowing those units to pieces. Even without upgrades, like BC's still, their damage output is so good versus ground. I'd like to see a second armory just because he's going to keep the battlecruisers on the field. But if he doesn't add any more, then it's okay.
Ooh, big Ling run by. He does manage to get the depots up to the main base up in time. So the Cyclones and the Valkyries should be able to push back those Lings and not any significant losses. Just a bit of loss of time.
That's actually really good hold there.
It's the advantage of having multiple levels to your wall, Nate.
That's right. You want to turn it into a labyrinth, if you will.
Tower defense your walls. I used to tower.
It's like it's a joke, right? But when you think about like what makes the best Zerg players right now the best, it's that they constantly get good run bys. Seriously, man, turn it into like one of those sanitation rooms going into like a chemical plant. That's what your base should be like. Open the depot wall. It's like there's another one right there already locked. You have to wait for the first one to close behind you and all that.
Okay, we end up seeing the big army here for Soul Spirit coming on forward, looking to try and get something done.
Look how fast those Corruptors die. I think one BC is very weak. The other two, I mean, you just Yamato the Corruptors and you can just focus down the Ravagers while you send everything home.
Yeah, I mean, taking a look, we already saw 6 Corruptors die during that fight and not really getting their job done. We end up seeing the queens starting to transfuse each other, helping out, but remember that if the Yamato comes off of cooldown again, those queens could also be another target if the Corruptors are not nearby.
And even in this situation, I still like just sending the battle cruisers to fight everything here and then just teleport them back. Those are the units that have the eject button, right? You have your safe exit ability. You don't need to send the red one back, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't even think it'd be a bad idea.
Repair that back up.
These fights are so good because peeling off those Corruptors is what allows the BCs to eventually just fly over all of this.
Starting to lose some of the Cyclones here as the Roaches do start closing the distance. The Battle Cruisers...
Repair BCs. Okay, gets the weak one out.
Yep.
He needs to teleport the next one. Nope, it's dead.
It's a really micro-intensive army. You need to pull back the Cyclones versus the Roaches so that they can try and use their range. The Battle Cruisers need to teleport out at the right time, but he loses another Battle Cruiser there.
He is going to kill all the Corruptors, so there's something to that. The ground army is more so the issue right now because there's still just a few Corruptors, and without fully repairing the BCs, they cannot engage this.
This is a tough spot right now for Ziggy. The Battle Cruisers, they don't actually have to... Yeah, you're right. There aren't that many Corruptors left over, so the Battle Cruisers can clean up the Roaches eventually, but he's losing a lot of workers. He's losing another base. The Corruptors could use their Caustic Spray if they really want to on maybe one of the command centers on the right-hand side, but they're just going to go in on the Battle Cruisers themselves.
The only reason why it's so hard to count out Ziggy is because he does a really good job, even in these situations, of taking those extra bases, but he may have been pushed too far here. He has that expansion at the top center. There's nothing actually mining there, but in a world where he gets away with this and keeps up, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm suddenly on 4 bases still, that's really good for him. But you mentioned it earlier, the Corruptors are going to use Caustic Spray. Third is dead, and so is Ziggy. GG. Tied series here. Good best of 3 we've got going.
Yeah, really well handled there by Soul Spirit. I was a little bit worried because, like you said, that composition can be really difficult to handle if you are not extremely on point, and if the Terran player is able to micro really well. And I felt like Ziggy was doing an okay job in the first part, but toward the end, and again, it's not me trying to criticize.
It's chaos.
It's so difficult.
It's just the chaos of the situation. He has the 3 BCs. The Yamato's on cooldown, sure, but one of them is really hurt, and they all have tactical jump. You could have kept the creep from the original queens and teleport back, repair, and fight over the command center. Instead, he has to immediately teleport one out. Doesn't have the SCVs there to already repair, so he has to teleport all the other BCs out.
This is while he's trying to micro back the Cyclones and not die for the
Roaches. If you're a Zerg player, you don't care if all the Corruptors die. Your whole point is to get the BCs out of the picture so that the Roach Ravager can just plow through the Cyclone Hellion. And it worked. He did exactly what he needed to do, executed a perfect defense, and made a really good play there. I like seeing the build out of Ziggy, but it's not working for him.
Yeah. I almost wonder if game number 1, you were mentioning that it was very map dependent, and I do agree that first map, going for the 3 Rax Reaper stuff, what I do like about that is it forces your opponent into something that they weren't planning, right? When you go for 3 Rax Reaper, all of your opponent's plans are just gone. What you were doing is important. What they were doing is not anymore.
You force your opponent to react to you and play your game, not theirs anymore.
Yep.
Very assertive builds. The Battlecruiser Rush has the same effect. Of course, the counter to that is you could attack. You have a large window to attack before the BC is out. Like a Battlecruiser takes, I think, in real time, 64 seconds to build.
Yeah, it takes a bit of time.
Takes a good bit of time. And that's a large window for a Zerg player to pump out Roach Ravager or Roach Ling. Usually it's Roach Ling when people kill me. People don't like playing versus the double Battlecruiser Rush.
Go figure, the tier 1 units and tier 1.5 units can kill you before you get to tier 3.
There's a very cathartic joke to be made there about Marines and Ultralisks, but save it for later. I'll save it for later, Fear Dragon.
Okay, we're jumping into game number 3 on Kairos Junction. As we start up at the top left-hand corner of the map, top of the blue Zerg player from Dusk Gaming. He is Soul Spirit.
I like this wall off his opponent is going for. In the bottom right, the red Terran player. BC Rush is not working today. He's Ziggy.
So you were talking about the wall off over here, and usually when you go for these kind of wall offs, you're planning to build more than just one supply depot and one barracks, right? Looking maybe build Second barracks. Maybe
Well,
go for something else.
we're seeing this more and more. Bunny did a wall like this yesterday, but it was for his double starport rush. He died to like 3 roaches.
Sorry.
But he also went very greedy, right? So in this
Yeah.
game, it's actually just the Reaper shenanigans again. And I imagine we'll have a 3rd barracks probably built inside the main. And it's just going to be a bunch of Reapers. Ziggy likes having that map control. It worked, in my opinion, very well. I liked what I saw when he did it the first time around. So would not mind seeing it again. A lot of potential to get some damage in. But it might just be 2 racks.
Yeah, 2 Rex Reaper was, for those who missed out on the 3 Rex Reaper era of StarCraft 2, 3 Rex Reaper was the big scary, I'm just making a bunch of Reapers, and I will eventually have a transition point, but I'm going to get a lot of damage on. 2 Rex Reapers was like the fake out 3 Rex Reaper.
So to set the stage, when StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void first launched, you had a grenade that had much more damage. It did 10 damage instead of 5, and the cooldown was 5 seconds instead of like, is it 12 now? It's like 11 seconds
Something like
or
that,
something.
yeah.
So the Reaper used to have just a better grenade that it could shoot out a lot more. And we're gonna just have another pause. We do have some ping spikes.
1.5k. He's claiming how much money he's going to earn. He's just gradually
got
going up. He's like, I'm going to get $1,000. I'm going to get $1,500.
That's insane. This is the best ping I've actually ever seen to European server from Southern California, by the way. Maybe it's just because we're paused, but I wish I had this ping to EU at home.
What's the ping?
Looks like it's like
1,500.
well, it's like 130 from here. I didn't even,
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think that's possible.
And you live right here, so
Yeah.
that is kind of
well,
interesting.
I don't have fiber. It cuts out about, I'd say, average like 15-ish. But my ping to Europe server is way worse. These guys got that awesome Blizzard Arena internet.
It's
Next
pretty good,
level.
especially
Pretty
when we
good.
go to US West.
I guess I just have to come do my laddering here. I'm just going to bring my whole computer over. Don't worry, Mark. I'll keep the green room clean.
Well, you know what, Nate? As long as we have some time to kill and to just talk about other random topics, let's talk about one of your favorite buildings, or at least it was in the past. It is that factory. And of course, this is where you can produce units such as the Thor, the Widowmine, the Hellion, Hellbats, and many more. I think
And the
that's-
siege
that's
tank.
actually-
The
there's
siege
only
tank,
one
that's-
more.
that's-
There's only one more. I need to leave one out there so that
And
I
if
can
you
save
have
for
an
many more.
old, weird, I don't know, you can play custom map to build warhounds out of it.
Yeah. If you guys are interested in purchasing that skin, though, then you guys can go ahead and check out that war chest. 25% of the purchase will go toward esports initiatives in 2019. The game is back. Let's resume as we see the first Reaper on its way over. The Overlord has seen everything, including the command center, and the fact that there's only 2 barracks so far. But does he know there's not a 3rd in the main?
Yeah, I guess that's a part of the fake out, right? That's one of the things that we used to see. Well, we had that map. Oh my god. We had maps like, what was it? Orbital Shipyard. That map was amazing for Reapers. You had like 3 levels of cliffs. It was impossible to catch them with
Oh,
certain-
yeah.
And then we had what, Prion Terraces, where you wall off your natural with 3 barracks and just take the gold afterwards or something insane. But look at that. I like it. He's just going to be greedy behind this. He's saying, yeah, I'm going Reapers. Get all defensive, my dude, while I be super, super greedy.
I remember this. I don't think this is true toward the very end of the 3 Rex Reaper era, but I do recall Zerg players telling me, yeah, if you are up against a 2 Rex Reaper and you made the Roach War and you make a bunch of roaches, that is an overcommitment to the defense. But if it's 3 Rex Reaper, you need the roaches. So a lot of Zerg players, they don't really want to have a bunch of roaches versus a 2 Rex Reaper. It's like an overcommitment here. We'll see how Soul Spirit feels about this as he continues to make more roaches, more Ravagers against a extremely economic opening from Ziggy.
Yeah, this is already great for Ziggy. Look at the number of workers as well. Like, he's just cranking out. This is a lot of roaches. I think we might see a counterattack here.
He has to.
That factory has only just started, so there's going to need to be a bunker, maybe 2, just to be safe. With the way that wall off is done, it's going to be very difficult, I think, to hold on here.
Well, I think at this point, Soul Spirit should know it wasn't a 3 Rex Reaper, just based on how many Reapers there are. So he makes his way across the map, and the Reapers theoretically should still be able to pick away at these units, especially if the Ravagers get ahead of the rest of the units.
It's really important that he sees this. This is really big. He doesn't have a bunker. He's just now starting one, but you know what? Those barracks, the reactor, the tech lab, free farm. Free farm right there.
Oh, man,
Easy gold, easy XP, man.
I don't know if this would have been better, but I really wish that he had been making a Marauder from that Barracks instead of
Bye,
Marine.
bunker.
He's going to have to cancels it anyway.
Is he just super dead here?
Well, you can
So
still finish the Marauder after the Tech Lab gets killed. No, he's just going to have to live
The
with it.
barracks is going to die.
Well, at this point, the Tech Lab is only now finishing on that factory, so I guess you just have to retreat back up to your main and hope that you can hold the main ramp.
We're in a Hodor situation, Fear Dragon. The high ground here is going to be very useful with the Marauder in the bunker.
But if you survive with 3CC,
It does have a worker advantage, and you're right, 3 CCs. It's not over. If he breaks this bunker, I think he'll probably die, but I feel like he should have enough to defend this.
Oh, he was researching concussive shells, not stim, in the main base. That's interesting.
Oh, desperate times and all that. Puts 2 Marauders in. I like that. The Marauder has 6 range by default, so putting it into a bunker gives it 7, which is more than the Ravagers have, so it makes it very hard for the Ravagers to poke. He's going to continue to drop the Biles. Trying to break that bunker is Soul Spirit. Wants to end the game. The tank is done.
Oh,
and
the Ravagers
Biles.
up the ramp.
He's going to Bile click on it, right? 1, 2,
there's the rest of them.
and
And tank is dead. Marauders still trying to hold the line. Another
he's
bunker
got
gets
another
up.
bunker. He's almost barely held this.
This is an all-in from Soul Spirit. You cannot really easily transition out of this.
He doesn't have a transition out of
He's droning up though. He's gonna try. He still has a few more rounds of units that are making their way across the map, so he's still got to get more damage done.
Like, the attack was as good as Soul Spirit could have asked for, but I feel like he was trying to win the game with that. He did kill enough SCVs that with the drones he's pushing, he's like, okay, I feel nice. But the Terran's about to be raining 3 mules down at a time, and that is never a fun spot to be in this.
If Ziggy had been researching
Stim
instead of concussive shells, I actually would just be pretty much calling this game. But because he got concussive shells, because there's still a little more time before Ziggy.
Oh my God, the Queens are here? What?
He was really all in.
mind.
All right, here we go.
He's crazy.
These tanks say no. These tanks actually just say no. And then
Ponytail wearing psychopath, Zerg, cheese, and crazy.
I guess one thing that's going to be going Soul Spirit's way is that Soul Spirit can make this look even more like an all-in. So while he drones up and
Well,
tries
he's
to
not.
transition,
Nah, man, he's got more roaches coming across too. Tank does get sniped. Needs the SCVs on the bunker. Oh my goodness, it's so hard to try and get that tank somewhere that it can actually do something.
oh my God,
Tries to
getting close
siege.
to Bild.
Denied.
Down it goes.
Yo, goodbye, Ziggy. Soul
Not
Spirit.
SCVs repairing.
Soul Spirit will take your soul now. Yeah.
This tank doing its best to try and kite away. He is cleaning up quite a few units.
Just a little bit better tank position, I think. It's really hard to know exactly where to put him to be safe in those situations, but when the Ravagers can just step up and go ding ding ding. There you go.
That is tough. That is really tough. Ziggy gets into an almost winning position there, but Soul Spirit breaks through at the very end and is able to keep his hopes alive in that losers match, make his way to the decider match to see if he can make it out in second place. So congratulations to Soul Spirit, already showing up and showing some good games today.
Yeah, Soul Spirit's going to be getting ready for that ZVZ with Namshar that he'll be playing very soon.
We assume.
Do we, though? Do we assume? Cyril's about to 2-0 Namshar. That's what's going to be coming up next. Hope you guys are all very excited here. WCS Winter Europe Edition.
Indeed. It's going to be a showdown between two good friends, and of course then that decider match. And after that, we'll be moving into America, so don't go anywhere if you're watching WCS Winter.